Hi, this is Rocio Radke with Century 21. Today we'd like to discuss first-time homebuyers. I typically specialize in first-time homebuyers. I love the process. I get to walk through the process and basically hold their hand through it all. And I love that part of my job. Lots of first-time homebuyers have quite a few fears when it comes to purchasing a house, and one of them is the unknown. They're unknown of their finances, the unknown of what it will cost to pay for the mortgage, and also the closing costs. Typically, lawyers' costs range from $1,000 to $1,500. Moving costs, or if you're purchasing a condo or a townhouse, you will be spending money on a condo specialist going through your condo docs, or even a home inspection. If you have somebody going through your property and making sure that everything is looking good, there's no mold or a crack in the foundation or asbestos or any of that kind of stuff, you're going to be looking at spending about $500 just in a home inspection alone. So lots of first-time home buyers get pretty anxious because they're not 100% sure of what all the costs are involved in regards to purchasing a house, which is my job to walk them through that, let them know basically how much everything's going to cost, and also give them the connections. A lot of the time, people are scared because they don't even know where to start, or they don't know the connections of who do I use for a home inspector, who do I use for a condo specialist, who do I use for a lawyer. Well, that's my job, to refer a number of people for you, and you can pick and choose through the amounts of people that I refer to you. And typically I only get people that I personally trust and have used in the business as well. So that's my job, is to help you with those contacts and those information in regards to purchasing, and also the amount of money that it's going to cost to, purchase everything, including the actual townhouse and the property or condo or single family or whatever. Also, lots of the time, first-time home buyers don't really even know what they want. So I always find the first session that we go to look at homes a bit of an education, because they don't really actually know. They have an idea of what they want in their head, and they write it down on paper, and they have a wish list, a want list, and a must-have list. And we basically try to narrow it down and figure out, what neighborhoods they want. What do they want? Single family, condo, townhouse, $1 million home, acreage, kind of square footage, backyard, busy road, quiet, suburbia, or old established neighborhood. So it's my job to ask those questions. And once we kind of figure it out, we go looking at some houses. And typically, the first time we go out looking at houses, my buyers are really overwhelmed. I usually try to only show them about 5 properties the first time we go, because it can be a little bit crazy, and emotionally, it can be a little draining as well. You kind of invest in these houses, and you can see yourself in these houses, or you're disappointed. The pictures look great. You go see the property and you think, what is this? And so it can be quite exhausting. And I find that sometimes buyers are a little bit tired and don't even really know what they want. Once we do our second showing, book our second showings, I typically, before we go out, email them, call them, text them, say, okay, how is that for you guys? What can we narrow down? What did you like about that house? What did you not like about that house? Did you like this neighborhood? Should we scratch that off our list? And then usually buyers fall in love with something completely different than they thought they would fall in love with, which is also the fun part for me, because I'm able to actually listen to what they want, listen to and see what they like, see what kind of body language that they kind of have when they walk into a property, and then I can start assessing, okay, they didn't love this at all, or she's digging this one pretty good, and then I can actually start narrowing in my own head some properties for you, and then actually start going and looking at them, and then the reality comes that you want to purchase something. So a lot of the time, first-time home buyers really don't really know the first time until about the second or third time we actually go out for showings what they actually want. And that's completely normal. Another thing that buyers are a little bit scared of is, can they afford the mortgage? Some people have never actually purchased a home before, so they've rented prior. Some places rent is substantially lower. A mortgage can really hurt your credit if you're unable to purchase it, and all the other costs that come along with it, like your utilities. So sometimes first-time home buyers are a little bit anxious because they don't know what it's going to cost for them to actually live in a home and, not be sharing utilities or having roommates or, just buying, even if they're just upgrading to a bigger home, utilities are going to be different. They're going to be a little bit more expensive. So a lot of the time that, first-time home buyers are a little bit anxious about that too. Also, they just don't know the process, and the process changes all the time. So even people that have purchased homes multiple times, they may come up with a new situation every time they purchase, because the real estate industry always continually changes, and it's always continually changing for the consumer, to protect them and to protect the realtor as well. So it's always changing, and so sometimes they just don't know the process. They don't know, okay, now what? Now what do we do? Okay, now we write the offer. Now what does that look like? Okay, now we negotiate. Okay, now what do? Okay, they've accepted the offer. Oh, okay, now we have to get paperwork. Oh, okay, now I got to talk to my mortgage broker. And that's even just the tip of the iceberg. But it is my job to walk you through that. And I usually send a huge checklist once we've actually found a property that we love and we've purchased it, we've negotiated, we've come to terms, and now we just have to come to terms on our conditions, and then hopefully everything goes well and you can move in. And I usually send a huge checklist of all the things that you need to do, and I basically walk your hand through that entire process right up until possession. And then even after possession, if something goes awry on possession day, I'm always present. And for example, something goes wrong actually just recently I had a possession, and the property was supposed to be cleaned and vacant. We showed up for possession. I knew something a little off, so I went early, and I'm glad I did, because there was copious amounts of things left behind. For example, a boat in the backyard, patio furniture, and tons of garbage and a tree stump. So we had to deal with that, and we had to chat with the lawyers, and we did get somebody to come clear out all that stuff. But that's my job to take care of all that. So I'm still there right up until even after the possession. I always call, check in with my clients. Hey, how did moving day go? Anything kind of come up? And so a lot of the times, even as anxious and stressful and as hard as moving into a home for the very first time, it's my job to ease those fears and to walk you through it and be able to, hold your hand through it all and be able to try to make this transition as smooth and flawless as possible. And so if you have any questions as a first-time home buyer, or you're looking to buy and just need where do I start? Who do I speak to? Do I speak to a mortgage broker? Do I get pre-approval first? Do I not get pre-approval first? Do we just go shopping? What is the process? I'm here for you for that. So feel free to give me a shout or send me a message, and I'm happy to answer any of your questions and help you walk you along and walk you through this process. If you have any questions, feel free to message me, and I'll be happy to help you. Rocio Radke with Century 21.